Greetings Commander players and welcome to a competitive card review for Esika, God of Free, and her The Prismatic Bridge. Esika is basically the god of the World Tree, which is a land that is not legendary for some reason, that taps for green, can make all your lands tap for whatever, and you can pay an extremely high amount of mana, sacrifice it and find all gods and put them directly into play. My own personal theory behind this card is that Wizards of the Coast want to give casual EDH players that are playing a god tribal a god commander that is all 5 colors so they can play all gods and basically have a theme for the gods, as at the beginning of each upkeep from the enchantment, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So the theme here is that you're using the Prismatic Bridge to basically flip into random fun chaotic gods during your gameplay. And you are allowed to have this as your commander because Esika, God of the Free, can be a commander with all 5 color identities because the other faced card has all 5 colors on it. Now it's a 3 mana cost 1/4 legendary god with vigilance, and tap it, add 1 mana of any one color. That is also giving all other legendary creatures you control vigilance, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. So you can sit there with your legendary army, attack with them, and then tap them afterwards in your second main phase for mana. And now there is a bunch of different game strategies that are already appearing from this card alone. You could basically play a no creature deck, basically play a polymorph deck. This is truly the polymorph card. This is actually Oath of Druids on yourself only, and you don't put any cards into your graveyard. So let's draw this scenario. You have a deck that is focused heavily on ramp, on just ramping out the Prismatic Bridge as fast as you can. Reach that 5 different colors, cast the bridge, pass turn, then you take your next turn and you flip into the only creature that is existing inside the deck, that is a Villis, Broker of Blood. And with Villis you're gonna be able to perform some form of lose life, draw cards, and draw into some form of win con that doesn't require creatures. You could basically just go for Underworld Breach, Brain Freeze, and Lionside Diamond from Villis. Or the only creature in your deck is Godo, and Godo comes into play at the beginning of your upkeep. On the ETB effect, you're finding Helm of the Host, then you pay 5 mana during your main phase somewhere before combat, of course. You equip the helm and you have the win. This is basically 5 color Godo. Instead of paying 11 mana to win the game, you pay 5 mana to win the game. However, you have to pass turn, and everyone knows what you're up to, so they're gonna try to destroy this enchantment. So there are a lot of problems with this strategy, obviously, as well. It's a little bit clunky and slow, like passing a turn, having a win con in play is pseudo-optimal. And that is why you play cards like Final Fortune. A 2 red mana, take an extra turn, you're gonna lose the game after this turn, but you're gonna win the game before you get to that losing stage. You basically cast the Enchantment Commander for 5 mana, then you pay 2 red, cast a Final Fortune, a grand total of 7, and you win on the spot without passing turn to your opponents. This could actually be something of an upside, because most of your opponents are gonna sit there and basically ignore you, knowing that you only win if you successfully pass turn, and they aren't really prepared for the Final Fortune surprise. Another possible strategy is that you do something of the same, but instead of going for a win con, you go for stompy, stacksy creatures like Rudrick Tar and Void Veneer. I really wish Iona was still legal. Sorry they banned her, that would be a great card for this strategy. You basically ramp out these commander enchantments as fast as you can, and you start accumulating value. This is basically card draw, and you're putting some really interactive creatures in play that is making it really hard for your opponents to win. The win con in this is basically just a beat face. I mean, that's a 6/6, and that's 11-9. I'm not super sold on this game plan personally. I think it's something that might work depending on the situation and such, but the big problem is that if your opponents destroy this enchantment, you might be sitting there with those really expensive creatures in your hand and progress a little bit too slow. But this is definitely a deck that I want to play test myself. It actually might have something going for it. Let's proceed. Let's talk about having Esika inside the 99. And guess what? We're gonna be talking about sisay again. But guess what? This is a huge upgrade for sisay. You could actually even view it as a ritual. If you have 4 legendaries or more in play that aren't suffering from summoning sickness, this actually produces more mana casting it. And that's great. Sisay loves mana. This is turning sisay into a mana dork that can attack first and then tap for mana. It even creates a possible combo for sisay with Nigella the Blade Blossom and Esika. You find one of the two in one of your opponent's end step, then you take your turn, you find the other one, and then you go to combat. You need to have 5 legendaries attacking or more. 6 would be great because then you go infinite mana, and during combat, as they are attacking, they have vigilance so they don't become tapped. You tap them for mana to untap them with Nigella. So here, if you have 6 legendaries, you go infinite mana and you win with sisay before actually progressing towards blockers. So even if your opponent has an enormous wall of blockers that are gonna kill all of your attackers, if you have 6 legendaries or more, you win the game anyway. If you don't have 6 legendaries or more, you basically have 5, which is netting ±0, you can put infinite combat steps on the stack, and then just sit there and attack until your opponents are dead. However, I actually think it's a lot better to play Sir the Enchanter instead of Nigella the Blade Blossom, because Sir can find Aggravated Assault, which is doing the exact same thing, except you don't need to go to combat and you can use your mana dorks to also tap into the Aggravated Assault. Esika is only making your legendaries gaining vigilance, but with Esika and Aggravated Assault, you should be able to scramble together enough legendaries and mana dorks to basically go infinite mana and win the game with sisay, or just go to infinite combat steps. But Sir has some more advantages compared to Nigella. Let's say there's a cursed totem in play and you're not able to activate sisay at all. You can use Sir to grind some value, finding some enchantments like Oath of Nissa, Oath of Chandra, maybe even Carpet of Flowers, Mystic Remora, and some other enchantments that you have inside your deck. That is some form of card draw in grindy, sluggish stacks situations. On the other hand, Nigella the Blade Blossom is also pretty good in those situations, as she's really good at removing players from the game. And we already played the Revi inside sisay, so it's just synergizing with itself already. But the Esika, or actually the Prismatic Bridge, actually has more to offer for sisay. Let's say there is a Linvala, Keeper of Silence, in one of your opponent's board state, or a cursed totem effect that is making it possible for sisay to activate, or let's say an Aven Mind Sense or an opposition agent. Now sisay can't activate and we are dead. Let's actually cast this Prismatic Bridge. This is card draw value, but it's also making sisay into a 7/7, so now we definitely got a big girl able to punch face and kill that opposition agent or Linvala, Keeper of Silence player. So let's go over and look at what Esika is actually giving to the sisay deck. Well, it's a ritual, and if it's not a ritual, it's ramp, increasing your mana production. It is a combo piece depending on how you assemble your win cons, and it's making sisay stronger with the bridge in a grindy, sluggish situation, and an alternative card draw when there is an opposition in the agent in play or a cursed totem. So yeah, I'm happy. Good card. I love it. Besides sisay, I don't think there are that many commanders out there that want to play Esika. I mean, the only ones that are actually out to play her and would be kind of interested in playing her is Kenrith the Return King and Gollus Tireless Pilgrim. And sure, this creature will make those into mana dorks, but they generally don't play that many legendaries like sisay does, so they can't utilize this as a ritual or a big mana producing menace machine. And neither would they be interested in this Prismatic Bridge like sisay is. So primarily I think this is a card for the sisay's 99, and it honestly looks really fun. I'm really happy about this print. As a finalized review, I actually think this is gonna be a functional commander as well. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be able to put some form of polymorph deck together that is gonna be functional and a little bit scary to play against. And I also think that some form of stacks grindy version with this could potentially be able to smash something together as well. I'm more interested in the polymorph strategy. I think that will be a little bit stronger. Either go Villis or Godo, but I'm guessing there are some other interesting options depending on your creativity. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and you wanna support me, feel free to share my videos or even checking out my Patreon page. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link in the description below of the video will also help the channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.